Okay, cool. My name's Daniel. I'm 43 years of age and I am currently in supported living with New Hope. That's post-rehab. So I've done 6 months in residential treatment at Rehab Hall, first 12-step programme. Just to give you a little bit of background about me, as mentioned, I'm 43. I have been in addiction for the best part of, well, most of my life, probably 2.5 decades, 3 decades. My choice of drugs, I'd like to say more, because I used everything, but it was crack and heroin. I once heard someone say that heroin took them to hell and crack brought them to the knees. I was using both, so I was on my knees in hell. I come from a middle class background. My parents both worked. My mum was a nurse, my dad was a mechanic. It was a real man's man, jet black hair, thick set. Always covered in oil. He drank, he liked his drink, and my mum done the best that she could to provide for us. However, my mum was very troubled herself. She come from a impoverished background. A little example is that the house had no carpets. Her and her 3 sisters shared a double bed, and 3 brothers shared a single bed. My dad lost his dad when he was quite young, so he was very troubled himself. Growing up, it was a home of conflict, a very demanding environment. Yes was yes, no was no, black and white, there was no grey areas. And I lost myself at a very young age. I was borderline mute. I guess I just numbed myself to the demands of that environment. I guess the roles had been reversed, instead of mum nurturing me, if I kept mum happy, then I would be okay. So I was in survival mode at a very young age. I've got an identical twin, Damien. I've got a younger brother, Michael, and a sister called Katie. My other brother is entrenched in addiction, similar issues, similar drugs of choice. My little brother, well, my big brother actually, biologically my younger brother, but he's much bigger than me now. He is entrenched in addiction as well, chaotic, unmanageable. My sister also is very unmanageable internally, externally. A lot of labels around her neck with different disorders, etc. So the disease of addiction definitely runs in my family. As mentioned, my dad and mum was both addicts, and so was my siblings. I spent most of my life using one drug or another. Started off with cannabis, progressed through the club scene, that typical pattern, and I found myself using heroin at a very young age. I always felt a sense of I wasn't enough. Very low self-esteem. The internal critic always overrid my thinking. I felt a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of remorse. There was a lot of very restless, discontent, irritable, just a sense of discomfort, like something was wrong, a sense of pending doom. And in that, I was a very negative person. I have to commend myself for trying. I have always tried my best to get on in life, but due to my mental health and my addiction, I was just going around in circles. 2011, I first went to treatment. There was a treatment centre in Leicestershire, and I remember being in there for a few months, and I put some weight back on, started to get some colour in my face, my confidence come back, and I remember looking at myself in the mirror and thinking, you know what, Dan, you're young, you're easy on the eyes, you're strong, you're relatively intelligent, and I was a real there was an attitude of I'm going to make something of myself. I was a real doer, a real go-and-getter. And I set out to prove to myself, and to the world, that I could be a success. But I just found myself going around in circles. I chased a lot of things, whether it was the aesthetics, the way I looked, the gym, whether it was money, whether it was, status within certain job roles. I tried and tried and tried. but uncomfortable feelings and then thoughts that I previously mentioned was all too prevalent. It was I was just trudging, I was treading water, and ultimately the pain would get too much. I'd end up white knuckling it, the term is, and I'd be back in addiction. The pain would become too great that I just had to alleviate it somehow, and that was my go-to. However, 3 programs later, or 4, 3.5, and then eventually going into New Hope, I first discovered the 12 steps. I mean, I'd heard of the 12 steps before, but I guess I just kind of presented my ego. I was ticking boxes, trying to keep loved ones happy. And I didn't really give it too much thought, what the actual 12 steps entailed. I'd come from, being in these kind of residential rehab environments, what were faith-based. And to me, it kind of conflicted, their ethos, if you like, conflicted with what I believed with my faith. However, my faith didn't keep me clean. Going to church didn't keep me clean. Jobs didn't keep me clean. Earning money didn't keep me clean. Having partners didn't keep me clean. I had to kind of get to a point where I acknowledged that for all my tenacity and trying and the determination, the will to try and get myself clean and stay clean, was to no avail. I'd kind of exhausted all my inner resources, if you like. And then that's when I went to New Hope. I went to New Hope, I was skeletal, emaciated. I was probably 9.5 stone. I'd just come from a situation where I was bedridden, totally unmanageable, in a room, track marks all up my arms. I was in a very, very, very bad way. I slept most of the day. I just couldn't face the world. As soon as I opened my eyes, I was just totally overwhelmed. And eventually, I managed to muster up the courage to make contacts with the appropriate people and found myself in that program. And I had to get very, very honest with myself with some things. But that's a topic for another time. However, New Hope, the rehab, the 12 steps was the best thing that I have done and that I continue to do. I've realised that, the 12 steps is not something that you start and finish, systematically. It's a way of living, it's a way of thinking, it's a way of navigating myself and life. So yeah, I spent 6 months in Rehab, and today I have got some inner peace, I've got some freedom, I've got the tools, the know-how to cope, with all that. Disease of addiction, I acknowledge that I have got the disease of addiction, but also I'm traumatised and I still live with the symptoms of trauma. But, I have the tools today to manage that. And yeah, I'm in a very, very, very different place. A few sentences or even a couple of paragraphs wouldn't quite carry the what I want it to say, what I want it to mean as to how much it has changed me internally. Now I'm in supported living, again within the confines of New Hope. In the morning, I wake up and there's not a sense of pending doom, self-damnation. I actually have, I have hope today. I have a renewed sense of life is good. Life is worth living. Life is, it's, I just feel connected, not just generally with people, but I feel connected to something much more bigger than I am. And that's a topic for another time. So yeah, I've got my kind of things, loose goals that I want to achieve, but I have to be very careful, just kind of not put too much into that. My recovery comes first and foremost, and potentially I want to be a therapist in time. You know, I have to have the right motives for that. I examine all my motives these days, you know, why I'm actually doing this. Is it to escape me? Is it to escape something, you know, or is it genuine? But that's a topic for another time as well. So yeah, anyway, I thought I'd just come on here, share a little bit about you know, Daniel and my journey, and I hope that you got something from that. You know, even during these interviews, there's still a sense of apprehension, but that's okay. You know, that's okay. I'm just a bit of my nature, and hopefully, you know, your journey will bring